Yo, what's going on, Epic 7 fam? I'm Sue, and it's been a wild last 48 hours or so for the community. We had the issues with the PC client, the leak of the new exclusive equipment, and now, as of this morning, Fallen Cecilia is no longer on the February 13th balance patch that is slated to go live tomorrow, assuming that you're watching this video as it airs. So yeah, it's a lot, and all of it is discussed here in the February 13th update content, the post here over on Stove. So let's just jump into it, let's talk about it. So let's scroll down here to balance adjustments, and as you can see here, there is this notice here that says, we would like to inform you of a change regarding a 5-star Moonlight Hero Fallen Cecilia in the upcoming February 13th balance adjustment. After the February 13th balance adjustment preview that was released on January 31st, we received a number of comments and feedbacks from our heirs regarding balance adjustments, including Fallen Cecilia's. After carefully reviewing each and every one of them, we decided to exclude Fallen Cecilia from the February 13th balance adjustment. Now this sentence, I have some issues with, right? Because it has been said to me by the former community managers, as well as this has been expressed to other content creators in the program multiple times, that Smilegate Korea, they primarily take all of their suggestions, like their feedback, from Stove. That's not to say that they don't read other things, it's just like 95% of the things that they act upon are Stove comments. And so when I see a statement like this, it raises some alarm bells in my head. It says, after carefully reviewing each and every one of them, talking about, of course, the feedback from our heirs, if it was just Stove posted, that's all you paid attention to, then yes, it's very easy to review each and every one of them. It is your platform. But does that take into account places like Reddit or Facebook, the website formerly known as Twitter? How about the official Discord server? How about private Discord servers like my own, or Elf Mages, or Vic Chun's, for example? Did you read all the comments in there? And now you might be arguing, okay, well, there's no way they possibly could have done that. You know, you're just kind of arguing, like, you don't have to look too much into the language, but I'm very critical now of what they write in these notices, because we basically kind of proved with the infographic from the last World Arena season, by running that through a program to see if it was written by AI, it is 99.99% most likely written by an AI. So I'm wondering, is this a bad translation, or is this just flowery language that, you know, a language learning model produced just to make it sound like they're, you know, set the tone saying, oh, we're so sorry, we read all of them. And so that's why I'm getting hyperly critical of them, because it's like, at worst, it's lying. At best, it feels like you're not doing due diligence and you're cutting corners. So I just don't like the way that they, you know, worded this sentence. We are currently working on a new adjustment plan for Fallen Cecilia, which will be introduced at a later date. Moving forward, we will carefully monitor all heroes and ensure adjustments are more tailored to each hero's unique strengths and needs. So based on this, it sounds like their justification for why they are changing Fallen Cecilia is what they saw people, the feedback that they gave people, they read from people, was that the character, I guess, isn't good as a mitigation knight. They want her to be strictly like a mitigation knight, and she's not very good. She's not like broken in her niche or whatever. So maybe that's why they're changing her. Because the sentiment that I saw when I did the balance adjustment preview a couple weeks back was that people were okay with the balance adjustments, but they didn't think they were particularly like amazing. And I saw some people did want actual changes to the character, but I was pretty high on the character because the character was multifaceted, because you could use her as a cleave anchor now, or as like an aggro character. You could use her as a buff strip, right? A control character. She had all these little things that added up to make a very solid package that could go a number of different directions. You have a lot of creativity and like player expression with the character. You can take her so many different ways with those changes, and even if they might not be OP, the fact that a character who would go from basically no usage whatsoever to somebody that could be used in multiple different team compositions, do multiple different roles, that was good enough for me. But apparently, like I said, based on this, it doesn't sound like that was the case with everybody. Anyways, for those of you who participated in the 5-star Covenant Hero Cecilia drop rate increased summon, which began on February 6th, we'll issue a full refund of Covenant bookmarks used. So if you rolled for Red Cecilia imprints, you will get all of your Covenant bookmarks back, so you don't need to worry about that. I have some issues, though, with this next paragraph here. Additionally, if you purchased a 5-star Moonlight Hero Fallen Cecilia from the Galaxy Coin Shop using Galaxy Coins between January 31st from 9 a.m., this is the when the patch was kind of previewed originally, and February 1st at 3 a.m., this is when Fallen Cecilia would leave the coin shop, so not a lot of time to react. After the balance adjustment preview is released and you'd like a full refund of your Galaxy coins used to purchase Fallen Cecilia, please submit an inquiry through Epic 7 customer service by February 21st. So, the reason why I have somewhat of an issue with this one is because social media kind of had this thing where they were hyping up Architect Leica, Operator Cigarette, and Fallen Cecilia to kind of ring in the new year for 2025. So it was basically teased by the social media team. Fallen Cecilia was getting something, and it would come relatively soon. And Fallen Cecilia was available in the coin shop the whole month. So if you saw that the character was definitely going to be getting a buff on social media, and the character was in the Galaxy coin shop, but, you know, and you had the coins, right? You could just snag it and like wait for the buff and be like, I'm ready because it's coming very soon. They wouldn't hype it up if it wasn't coming soon. So now, the earliest you probably can expect a change to Fallen Cecilia, like, because they said that they will show at a later date, right, what they plan to do with the character. The earliest that has ever come is 2 weeks, which is Hellion Lua, and it was a standalone patch, which is what I'm hoping happens with Fallen Cecilia. But in the case of like balance adjustments, that's another 8 weeks from February 13th. That puts us into April. That's collab territory. So the next time you have a chance to get Fallen Cecilia is on the collab banner. Like if that's when it's supposed to be, like based on the spoilers, we're supposed to get one in April, right? Now, if it's like Pirate Captain Flan, who was changed in a similar fashion to this one, right, in response to player feedback, that took 2 balance patches, which would mean that Fallen Cecilia would not receive an adjustment until the end of June or early July, which is the 2025 Epic 7 World Championship, right? So essentially you'll go a whole year where a character who was the headliner for the previous World Championship isn't used. It's like we took a year off to buff the character. So that is very, very frustrating. And again, if you spent 40 Galaxy coins on that for the promise of the character being buffed early on based on the spoilers, like, you know, on social media, that's rough. Now, the other thing that's a little bit concerning, and I hope that customer service honors this one, is what if, in response to the buffs to Fallen Cecilia, you dusted off a Fallen Cecilia you already had, or you purchased one with Galaxy coins and sunk a ton of Malagora into her and even used like your gear crafting pieces on her, right? What are you supposed to do then? You literally tailor-made pieces to a character and you spent premium finite resources that in some cases could cost money. That should get a refund. I think you should have the ability to recall Fallen Cecilia off of this change. I really do, right? Because like some people that I have seen from the last couple hours looking around online, they put a lot of Malagoras into Fallen Cecilia. They invested in a build that was ready to go and to have them pull it, as it says here, right? We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused by this last minute change. They really should give you back not just Galaxy coins, but any other resources you really spent on this character. Like the balance patch, like this showed up, I want to say like 3-4 hours ago as I'm recording this, like right, you know, at the start of the morning. Like it's less than 24 hours, right? You have it's less than a 24-hour notice to let you know, like, hey, all the stuff that you invested in that you were prepared for, sorry, it's not really going to be a thing. Stay tuned. There'll be changes, you know, at a later date, but like, what if you don't like those changes or whatever have you, right? Or the gear that you made, it doesn't really work out. So hopefully you understand where I'm coming from, why I'm kind of frustrated with this, because I really think they should have just done a recall on Fallen Cecilia, right? As well as offer Galaxy coins for anybody in the month of January that purchased the character to be able to get them. If I'm wrong, you guys can feel free to voice your opinions down in the comments below. Let me know how you actually feel. The rest of this is pretty much just all of the stuff we talked about 2 weeks ago in the balance adjustment preview. right? So all of this stuff here is going to be in the patch. And again, if you want to see my thoughts on it, you can check out that video. Tori obviously comes out tomorrow. I will do a stream pulling for her, kind of testing her out like I do with other new units. So if you want to see that, make sure you get subscribed to the channel. You'll find it under the live tab. So stay tuned tomorrow, figure out what Tori is all about, figure out all this stuff. And then she's got some events that are accompanying her, Feat of Criticism being her 5-star artifact, right? And then her special side story, Sweet Chocolate Scandal, which we will probably voice act. If I could rope Red or Divine or Tristan into it, I will. Let me know down in the comments who you want me to try to grab for voice acting for this, because I think it'd be really fun to voice act Sweet Chocolate Scandal with some people. So we'll definitely do this also in addition to pulling for Tori on tomorrow's stream, right? And now if we scroll down here a little bit more, there's a couple other things I do want to talk about that are in this patch, right? Specifically the artifact, the Devil. This is part of the tarot card line. Normally these are pretty bad, most of these ones, but card 15, the Devil, it says here, because you'll get it for free, you'll have it at max level 30. At the start of the turn, recovers health by 500, increases the effect of all healing received by allies by 20%. When more than one increased healing effect is granted, only the strongest effect is applied. Is this like a meta artifact? No. But for some of you out there that are newer players, this could be pretty good for some PvE content. There might be a time where maybe there's like Advent or some kind of story content in the future. Healing artifacts, especially ones that are not tied to just Soul Weavers, those can be pretty rare, right? So having the ability to get an artifact that is freely available to everybody that does give some bonus healing will most likely have a niche somewhere in PvE at some point. So I do recommend not skipping the side story, making sure that you gun for this artifact and pick it up, max it out whenever possible, right? We get these emotes as well. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of Tori, but this second emote here is pretty goated. The one where she's like got the squiggly lines and like the circly swirly eyes. That one's pretty funny to me. I really like that one. So hopefully these are permanent additions. I kind of like that emote quite a bit. And now here's the big one, right? We talked about this in the PSA video a couple days ago, but here is Urban Shadow Shoes exclusive equipment. It is Cream Pastry Scouter, right? It gives 10 speed, which is kind of insane because anytime you give a character 10 speed EE, you have to pay attention. And Shoe is, I believe, an Ares warrior, which is like 117 or 119 base speed. I want to say it's 117. I'll put it up on the screen with her actual stats so you guys can see it, but that's kind of insane because that basically means that the character is moving at anywhere around like 126 to 128 base speed with the exclusive equipment, and people were already playing this character anywhere between 250 at like the slow end to like 280, a little over 280 at the high end. So you're going to potentially start seeing some Urban Shadow Shoes that are like 290 or 300 speed, which is very concerning for PvP because this character is very strong versus more slower playstyles. Starting to fall out of favor a little bit. She was kind of like an edge case character currently because like not very good into like Harseti and a couple of the other slower composition characters, but you'll see her as a 4 or 5 pick quite often. This exclusive equipment is kind of crazy because as you can see here, skill Wild Charge, this is her S2, the thing that gives her bzzzt, right? At the end of the turn, grants stealth to the caster for 1 turn. So this character is one of her biggest drawbacks. I would say it's arguably her biggest drawback is that good players just know, hey, Urban Shadow Shoe is a character that doesn't have the best bulk, like decent bulk, but not the best bulk. You just focus the character down. It's not that big of a deal. We just take her off the board, right? All of my damage goes into Shoe until she gets off the board. Then I don't have to worry about her and her injury anymore. So that's why people play things like Proof of Valor, or they play Sweet Miracle or like an ER build because you just try to stun lock the Urban Shadow Shoe the entire time, right? Now, the fact that you get stealth at the end of each of your turns means that the character cannot really be focus fired by a lot of single target moves, right? Off the rip. So that means that your only like really good recourse to deal with the character now is to kind of control her or hit her with like unbuffable, so that way she can't get stealth or her injury stacks, right? So me personally, if I'm building Urban Shadow Shu with this exclusive equipment, I'm probably going to be focusing more on like an ER build, because if you just, you know, previously you wanted damage on the character, right? So that way you could kind of have like a pretty impactful S3 at least once a game before the character got focus fired and killed, right? It made it so that it was easier to stack up the injury so that the S3 did more damage, because you were usually racing against time before your opponent killed you. Now that you're going to be sitting in stealth the entire time, I don't necessarily know if you even need crit chance anymore, right? I think you just go full ER. If they can't hit you with unbuffable, if you give the character a barrier, like with Fallen Cecilia, for example, right? If she's just stealth behind a barrier and, you know, you don't have like an AoE strip, right, that ignores effect resistance, and it's versus the ER one, you're never getting her out of stealth, and you're just going to have to play through all of that injury stack nonsense, and it's going to be very, very strong. So I expect Shu will be very, very good with this exclusive equipment. With Fallen Cecilia not being on the balance patch, I think she's slightly worse, because I thought she would be absolutely ridiculous with Fallen Cecilia with the speed imprint. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they walked back the Fallen Cecilia thing, under the guise of, you know, how people are perceiving it. But maybe it's like, oh, well, you know, 290 speed Shu with 12 speed EE that you can't debuff, that's stealth behind a barrier, is just not fun gameplay, so therefore maybe that's why they yanked it. I don't know. I don't really know, but this is definitely one of the strongest exclusive equipments we've ever gotten, I think, for a Moonlight 5-star. I don't think it's as good as Archdemon Shadows is, but it's pretty up there. And if you picked up Shu from the coin shop recently, you're probably going to be feeling pretty happy, right? In fact, the fact that the exclusive equipment that is being added is a character that you could just, you know, get, right? Like, it was available, right? It wasn't somebody that like necessarily needed it. It was just, it's one that you could spend to get right now. It's kind of like, really, guys? Like, really? Is that how we're doing it? Anyways, so the last thing I want to talk about is the kind of like stove comments that are posted here, because again, it seems like Smilegate does listen very, very heavily to Stove, and from the people that used to be the community managers, they would always tell me and other content creators that they really do listen to the top comment on Stove most of the time. So I did want to kind of just like peek over here. This is the top comment, by the way, in case you're wondering. This is the top comment on the actual balance adjustment preview that we did the video on the other day. I didn't look at it in the video, but as you can see, that's SCC's buff. She's been so bad for a long time, and that's all you gave her compared to what you did with Blood Moon, Haste, and Mort. So, you know, maybe this is the sentiment that the Fallen Cecilia buffs didn't go too far. As you can see here, Epic 7 balance team, and this is the highest upvoted one. Right? So, yeah. Again, I'm not saying necessarily this is what they do, but again, this is what I was told all the time. Whatever's like the top post, that's what they're listening to. And as you can see, here are the sentiments for the character no longer being there. Top one here is from Anastella. Hopefully I didn't pronounce that wrong. We will never forgive you for the canceled SCC boss. There's literally no con to the game, and you even cancel the only thing people are looking forward to. I wouldn't say that. Like, I think that the Valentine's event could be pretty good. But yeah, not having Fallen Cecilia is a pretty big bummer. That was the thing I was looking forward to the most. And then we have actually Coven and Tristan here. Coven, in case you guys don't know, is a legend level player, right? Very, very good World Arena player, very high ranking player consistently. Says this is the second time you cancel a perfectly fine boss because of Silver Stove users are complaining. We get one balance patch a season. You fooled us with one large one, then went back to spamming micro patches. This is a little true. There is some truth to this, what Coven is saying, because we had that big balance adjustment at the end of October last year, and when, you know, people like Valky, Divine, Tristan, me, Carr asked, is this going to be the new norm? Are we going to get these big balance adjustments? And, you know, we were told, like, yeah, it's going to be like this into the future, and it really hasn't been like that since. So that feels kind of like a swing and a miss. And then we have Tristan here, Here's Tristan's take. I'm sure he's probably going to do a video on it with his own take, but in case you want to see Tristan's take on everything. Pirate Captain Flan 2.0. This is why we need 4-week prior announcements rather than 2-week announcements, so players don't spend Mullah and Penguins and Catalysts and gear building a unit they may have bought with Galaxy Coins or from a banner that SG now gets to lose money refunding because they decided to cancel a buff with less than 24 hours notice. You want to listen to the community? Great. Give time for the community to respond and for discussions to be had. That way you don't react to a handful of silver players pretending they know what's best for balance like you did with Pirate Captain Flame. So it seems like Tristan is not very happy. I haven't gotten to talk to him this morning. Otherwise, don't cancel expectations. If FCC wasn't good enough, rebalance or tweak her later. How is this so hard? And community, SG has all but said we listened to Stowe. Did any of the people posting negative comments about this cancellation comment even once about how good FCC buffs were? How can you say SG doesn't listen when here they listen? They listen to the people you don't agree with. Comment on Stove, let them know. Yeah, so there you go. So Tristan, Coven, not very happy. I'm less than enthusiastic myself about Fallen Cecilia being patched or being removed from the patch, but hey, we got the shoe exclusive equipment to mess around with. We got Tori and her side story to look forward to tomorrow. So let's try to make the best out of what we can with what's otherwise kind of been a pretty messy week so far for Epic 7. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week. I'll catch you in the next one. Later now.